हेलो स्टूडेंट्स, आज हम लोग एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी सर्विसेज लिमिटेड का ऑफिसर फाइनेंस का क्वेश्चंस और उसके आंसर देखेंगे। इस वीडियो में हम लोग क्वेश्चंस को पढ़ेंगे और उसका जो राइट आंसर है उसी को पढ़ेंगे, क्योंकि पूरा डिटेलिंग वीडियो बहुत लंबा हो जाएगा, क्विक रिवीजन नहीं करने में परेशानी होगी। तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। बुरी तरह से व्यक्त बैडली एक्सप्रेस संदेश संचार के लिए एक एक डैश प्रकार का अवरोध है। अर्थ संपत्ति सीमेंटिक। The ratio of liquid asset to demand and the time liabilities is known as SLR. Who among the following is authorized to constitute the NAFRA under Section 132 of Companies Act 2013? Central Government. आपातकालीन कार्य के लिए सामान्य निविदा प्रक्रिया के विरतीकरण कंटेनमेंट आवश्यक होते हैं। निम्नलिखित में से कौन सी विधि का उपयोग करना चाहिए? सीधे आमंत्रण द्वारा निविदाएं। अनिवासी कॉर्पोरेट द्वारा अधिग्रहण शहर हस्तांतरण खुले प्रस्ताव के जरिए परिवर्तनीय ऋण पत्र के लिए खोले गए निलंब लेखा स्क्रो अकाउंट के संबंधी में निम्नलिखित में से कौन सा सही नहीं है? इस खाते में अनुमत डेबिट्स आरबीआई के नियमों के अनुसार है। विच ऑफ द टाइप्स ऑफ आर द शॉर्ट रन कॉस्ट, फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट एंड वेरिएबल कॉस्ट्स? वह लेखन जिसमें राय पूर्वाग्रह और लेखक का औचित्य शामिल होता है वह कहलाता है प्रभावी लेखन। द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ जनरल मैनेजमेंट विच emphasizes that a manager should replace I with we in all his conversations with workers to foster team spirit is called Spirit D Corps. Which of the following is an example of external audit evidence? Purchase invoice. Which of the following is used to estimate the profitability of potential investment? IRR. Which of the following is not correct about profitability route? The requirements that the issuer company should meet as an entry norm. If the company has changed its name within the last 1 year, at least 60% revenue of the preceding 1 year should be from the activity suggested by the new name. Which of the following accounting standard deals with government grants? AS12. For the purpose of Section 32 of the Companies Act 2013, the expression dash means a prospectus which does not include complete particulars of the quantum or price of the securities included therein. Red herring prospectus. Financially literate means the ability to read and understand basic financial statement. Which of the following is not a specialized financial institutions? State Bank of India. The tender that only allows supplier to submit a tender by invitation is called selective tender. Which of the following is a limitation of open tendering? Slow and costly process. Who approves the payment of an engineering works bill? EE, executive engineer. Deposits held in a bank financial instrument at an agreed rate of interest for a fixed period of time that can be withdrawn with interest at the end of such period is called term deposit. How many minimum directors should be the audit committee have as per the requirements of corporate governance? 3. Which of the following is not a characteristics of a capital equipment? It has a life expectancy of less than 1 year. Grapevine informal communication. In 2018, Dash was the largest e-commerce company in India, Amazon. X Limited deposit rupees 1 crores with State Bank of India 10% payable quarterly. The effective rate of interest will be 10.38%. An exercise by which of the assessee legally advantages take advantages of loopholes in the act is called tax avoidance. Which of the following is a limitation of uniform costing? Uniform costing presumes the application of the same principle and methods of costing in each of the members' firm. Which of the following accounts is prepared for division of divisible profit according to the provisions of a partnership deed? Profit and loss account. Which of the following Ind AS prescribe the principle of the first time adoption of Ind AS 101? The lease and transfer subsequently all the risk and rewards incidental to the ownership of an asset whose title may or may not be eventually transferred is called finance lease. The sale price of LED bulb manufactured by Roshni Limited is rupees 40 per unit, variable cost per unit is rupees 20 and fixed cost is rupees 15,000. Its break even point will be 750 units. Dash is the mathematical scheme for demonstrating the authenticity of a digital message or document. Digital signature. Which of the following is not an argument in favor of treatment of government grants as per income approach? They are they are not earned but represent as incentive provided by the government with repeated cost. Angel fund as a source of finance is most suitable when the nature of business is highly uncertain. साख पत्र लेटर ऑफ क्रेडिट प्रारंभ करने के लिए निम्नलिखित में से कौन सा आवश्यक नहीं है? मांग पत्र. Investment accounting is done as per accounting standard 13. The technique of functional foremanship was given by F.W. Taylor. Which of the following is not correct regarding code of conduct related to corporate governance? The annual report of the company shall contain a declaration to the fact that the provisions of the code have been duly complied with signed by the chartered accountant. As per AS2, which of the following is not be included in the cost of inventory distribution expenses? Which of the following money market instrument is used by scheduled commercial banks to manage day-to-day surpluses and deficit in their cash flows? Notice money. Which of the following is not a business model? E-commerce, email. A higher debt equity ratio is an indicator of higher degree of financial risk. Which of the following is not correct about long-term investment? If there is a decline other than the temporary in the value of a long-term investment, the carrying amount is increased to recognize the decline. Heavy expenditure on the advertisement of a newly launched product is deferred revenue expenditure. Distance between communicator and communicated result in which type of barrier to communication? Psychological. The amendments notified to Ind AS dash pertain to the classification of financial instrument with repayment features with negative compensation. 109. Which of the following is not the correct manner related to the disclosures by the listed entities? Related party disclosures detail should be submitted on a half-yearly basis. इंश्योरेंस ऑफ वेयरहाउस ईच सेलिंग एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कॉस्ट। भारत में प्रीपेड भुगतान लिखतों के जारी करने और संचालन पर आरबीआई द्वारा जारी नीतिगत दिशा निर्देशों के अनुसार वस्तु एवं सेवाओं की बिक्री के बदले पीपीआई जारीकर्ता द्वारा जारी किए गए पीपीआई को स्वीकार करने वाले प्रतिष्ठानों को क्या कहा जाता है? सौदागर, मर्चेंट। Which of the following is not a function of a banker to an issue? Making calls. Which of the following is not a purpose of downward communication? Receiving performance reports. Which of the following is not an advantage of a management information system? It increased information overload to the managers as only relevant information is provided to them. Which of the following is an incorrect statement with respect to tax planning? A rule can whittle down, negate or take away directly or by implication causation the right, privilege, advantages or benefit granted by the section or the enactment relevant to it. Which of the following is not an instrument of capital market? Commercial papers. The rate at which banks borrow unsecured fund from one another in the Indian call money market is called MIBOR. Which of the following is a limitation of NPV? It requires skills for calculation. Which of the following should not be considered while determining the net realizable value of the inventory? Cash discounts expected to be allowed for prompt payment. Who is responsible for the preparation of the running bill for the payment of engineering works? Contractor. Which of the following statement is not correct as per SA 330? Do not presume fraud risk in revenue recognition and management override of controls. To be negotiable, a letter of credit must contain an unconditional promise to pay. Which of the following does not affect the working capital requirement of an enterprise? Stock market condition. Which of the following Ind AS deals with spare parts, standby equipment, and servicing equipment when they meet the definition of plant and equipment? 16. Which of the following cannot be the purpose of utilizing security premium by companies which financial statement comply with the accounting standards under Section 133 of the Companies Act 2032, right of primary expenses of the company? सार्वजनिक रूप से निजी तौर पर भी रखे डिबेंचर के लिए भारतीय रिजर्व बैंक और बैंकिंग कंपनी द्वारा विनियमित अखिल भारतीय वित्तीय निर्देशों के लिए ऋण पर शोधन आरक्षित की पर्याप्तता कितनी होती है? किसी डीआरआर की आवश्यकता नहीं. Which of the following acts provides for the maximum number of partners in a partnership firm? Companies Act. In the event of inflation, the central banks increase the rate as this acts as disincentive for banks to borrow from central banks. रेपो रेट. निम्नलिखित में से कौन आपूर्ति श्रृंखला प्रबंधन की विशेषता नहीं है? दोष रहित स्थानीय निष्पादन वाली विकेंद्रीकृत वैश्विक व्यापार और प्रबंधन नीति. Basic salary helps to satisfy which of the following needs according to the needs hierarchy theory given by Maslow? बेसिक साइकोलॉजिकल नीड्स. निम्नलिखित में से कौन सफल कर नियोजन का लक्षण एप्टीट्यूड नहीं है? अग्रिम कर निर्धारण की जानकारी. Which of the following is not a money market instrument? Bank draft. Within how many months should a company deliver the same certificate from the date of allotment? 2. The amount at which an asset could be exchanged between a knowledgeable willing buyer and a knowledgeable willing seller in an arm's length transaction is called fair value. Which of the following statement is incorrect regarding auditor's responsibility as per SA 240? Must be aware risk of non-detection or of fraudulent material misstatement is lesser than the misstatement due to error. The compulsory ratio of the deposit that the bank has to maintain in the form of cash, gold, and other securities is called SLR. The rate at the Indian banks used as a benchmark for setting prices on forward rate agreement and derivatives is called MIFOR. Which of the following is not a step in the preparation of payroll? Take the approval of the employees. ROI is an indicator of profitability. A contract is said to be included by dash where the relationship subsisting between the parties are such that one of the parties is in a position to dominate the will of the other and uses that opposition to obtain an unfair advantage over the other. Undue influence. Which of the following is not information to be reviewed by the audit committee? To appointment, removal, and terms of remuneration of the company secretary. Which of the following statement is incorrect about Ind AS 1? Reports and statement presented outside the financial statement are within the scope Ind AS. Dash represent that the portion of basic raw material which is lost in processing waste. तो ये था क्वेश्चंस और उसके आंसर. वीडियो को लाइक करें, शेयर करें और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें. थैंक यू.